I'm sure plenty of you are happy that we are back in the Gecko Villa. We're back in the Gecko Garage, and therefore we can pull out geckos today. I do have a nifty little mic setup that I'm also testing out, so I'll watch this back, but those of you who are in the live chat, be sure to let me know how you like it. I think it should work pretty good. I'm going to go walk around the other side of the room, and you'll see that you should be able to hear me. Okay, Briv Vlogs, do a test with me real quick. So let me know, how is my back bending? Let me know, how is my voice and my vocal levels right now? Is it choppy? Is it too much bass? And watch as I walk around. I'm going to go all the way around to the side over here. You guys should still be able to hear me from over here. If that is correct, please say yes, we can hear you in the chat. And also, if you want to see any geckos, go to geekygeckocreations.com and I'll pull those geckos out. Awesome. How cool. In the past, I had connected this microphone via Bluetooth to the phone, but I realized Bluetooth is actually not good. You want to connect via a receiver. So I bought a receiver, and now I think we're golden. Like, I'm really excited to do live streams with this new setup now. So let me grab one of my favorite geckos, or a gecko that I just find off the shelf. But if there's any geckos from geekygeckocreations.com that you want to see, let me know the ID number and I can pull it out. Also, I do have a very loud fan in the background. I'm wondering if you guys hear that at all. Your feedback is meaningful to me because I have a noise reduction setting on here that is currently turned on, and I want to know if you guys can like hear me clear and there's no like background noise. And then I'm going to run a test in a second, and I want to see if it gets better. So I'm going to go over here. You'll probably hear the fan a little louder now that I'm right next to the fan now, but let's shut it off. Now, the reason I don't want the fan off, if possible, is because it keeps air circulating in here. And I would love to keep air circulating. So now I'm talking and the fan is no longer on. That's awesome. So pretty much you're saying that the quality of voice right now sounds just as good as 2 minutes ago, right? I'm gonna turn the fan back on. We could keep some airflow flowing in here. And while I'm over here, let me grab what is this? Yeah, let's grab this little guy, just since he's right on the shelf. Yeah, pretty nice. Pretty nice little clowny. Look at this nice little clowny gecko. So I forget the ID of this one. I think 2053, 33. I can't read. It's kind of far away. But it's a nice little clown. Male, boy. So that's awesome that you can't hear the fan. How cool. So let me say hello, Backbending, Eddie, Vlogs. Thank you so much. I wanted to do a little test live right now. And then I'll probably start scheduling lives again. This last week's schedule was a little off because of Halloween, and I was sick a little bit, so I wasn't able to get like a gecko update done, although we have 100 geckos available. I think it's like 112 I saw available on our website right now. I do plan on adding more this week. However, I wasn't able to get a gecko video out. I did get a snake video out this morning, if you guys saw, because I got some snakes that I'm looking to downsize. So I did get a snake video out, but I didn't get a gecko video out this week. So I still plan on hopefully getting an extra gecko video out this week, and then getting some more geckos uploaded to the website, or just doing a couple live streams showing off the geckos that we currently have on the website. That was the other option I was considering too. So this little boy is pretty cool. Just got approved for my Class 3 wildlife for commercial use permit. Expo's coming soon. Oh, so you must be in Florida or something, right? Because you guys have to get permits and stuff to officially like breed and sell animals and vend shows and those kinds of things. We don't have to do that out here in Arizona. Man, look how pretty this guy is. You know, the the reverse camera actually picks up colors pretty good, which is interesting compared to the front camera, because I have it on reverse camera right now. Let me see if I can come over here and pick out one of our really emerine green geckos that are up on our website right now. I don't know what ID numbers they are, but I could. Oh, this one, I like this one. The contrast on this one is just super pretty. Hello, baby. Boy, also. So here's, I forget the ID number of this one, but tangerine bold, firebolt bloodlines, really nice. I'm really actually impressed with the way that this front-facing camera is picking up color, or this back-facing camera, I should say. Gubby, thank you, Gubby, appreciate it. Oh, that's beautiful. That's gorgeous. How cool. I love the black marking on the face. So if you take a look at all that. This one likes to move. Look at all that. He's not going to sit still for us. All that black marking on the face right there. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful gecko. What's up, Jordan? Just showing off geckos. Let me see if I can find another cool one over here too. I'm looking for that one that I listed as a hyper emerine. It's the first ever that I've listed as a hyper emerine. It's going to be lower down here somewhere. Here's another nice one. Before we get to the hyper emerine, this one's just got really pretty, nice contrast. Great little bandit marking over the nose. Little 3 dots on the head. My gecko life. Also looks like a skull or like an O face. Ooh, like that. So this is a pretty little baby. Oh, look at that face. Beautiful face. The white contrast in there from the side. Yeah, the geckos are really cute. I will give PetSmart that. They do have cute geckos because they usually sell them really young and really small. So therefore, they're just in that really cute stage before they become ferociously beautiful. All right, let's see. There's that one. That's not the one I'm looking for, though. But that one is nice. Oh, I love this one. Let me show you guys this one because you guys probably saw my spawn project video. This is only the second ever one that popped out this spawny. So if you look at the head stamp on this gecko, it looks like a spade, or it looks so interesting. I mean, look at that white creeping in like that. So this is called, we have a video on our website called the Spawn Project. We had a gecko that popped out with the Spawn Project head stamp, and it was a little bit, so let me explain to you guys something that happens sometimes is sometimes you'll get geckos that are like underdeveloped, or they have a little loose skin, or they're just not perfectly formed in a physical way. Maybe they're a little small, little runty or something like that, but they have exceptional color or crazy pattern. That happens sometimes. And the way that I kind of joke about it is that all of the energy went into producing the pattern, and it took energy away from creating like a super healthy gecko. So when you look at our Spawn Project gecko, which is the first and I would say greatest example of what the goal of the Spawn Project is going to be, it's fantastic. That gecko's not super bad, but it is a little bit abnormal, a little bit of loose skin, a little bit smaller than average, if I'm remembering correctly. She's in the garage here somewhere. She's been growing a little bit, so maybe she's normal size now. I don't know, but I just know that she just wasn't 100% a normal formed gecko. you know, maybe a little loose skin, a little smaller than average, something like that. But she had that really amazing spawn pattern on her head. So look up that video if you haven't seen it yet. Amazing video. But this guy has no health issues whatsoever and has a very, very similar spawn issue on his head. And that is amazing. So we're going to shoot to breed those two together. I believe the first spawn was a girly girl. This one's a boy. You can look at that head stamp. Amazing. Beautiful. Sending positive vibes. Thank you, Hokie. Appreciate it. Yeah, like a jack-o'-lantern. Okay, so this is a holdback. And let's get him. Oh, he's making a getaway here. Go back in your cage. But I want to get him a few more worms because he ate all his worms. So let's get him. Sometimes holdbacks, don't tell anyone, guys. Sometimes holdbacks get a little special treatment. A little bit. I'll keep a little closer eye on them and, you know, refill their food or whatever the case is a little more often. Yeah, it's beautiful. Can't wait to put those two spawns together. I should actually, let me put that on the board right now as a video that I'm going to make. So let's choose blue color. Let's do 2 times spawn video so that I could show you both spawns next to each other so you could kind of see how cool and unique they are. I was wanting to get a white gecko from PetSmart. Okay, so like a Blizzard or Diablo Blanco. Yeah, but she told me they can get sick easier or something. No, that's not true. It's unfortunate, but like a lot of Petco people do not know what they're talking about. They just don't. There's a white lip holdback. Oh, this one's gorgeous. This one did not make the website. This one did not make the website. Gorgeous. It's even brighter and more vividly like red, orange in person, but a gorgeous white and yellow bell. What's up, Deez? Yeah, this one's super nice. A lot better looking in person too. I'm probably eating up some of the light here a little bit. Bells are a little more light sensitive. That is one thing I don't like about them, but they do have sort of lighter, brighter coloration in general. There, I could pull back a little bit. You could kind of see some of the contrast, the distinction in contrast. Beautiful, beautiful gecko, though. Let me see. I still need to find that green one. This guy also, we're going to give him also a little bit of worms. Like I told you, don't tell anyone, but the holdbacks, they do be getting some special attention and care at times, but don't tell the others. All right. We got a red dragon, white lip. That one's pretty. This firebold's real nice. Good contrast on this firebold. So I'll show this one off also. This one's on the website too. Hi, baby. So this one is on the website. It is a male. It is firebold. And it does have some really bright and awesome colors. Let's get it up close. Hi, baby. There you go. If I ever get another gecko, I'm probably getting it from you. I'd love to help, Gubby. Yeah, this guy's pretty nice, pretty sweet. Oh, there, when I stand behind, it helps, I think. I love on firebolts, I love the contrast between like the whiter bellies and the whiter faces and lips and stuff like that, and then just the bright coloration on the body. All right, where's that really green one? The one I put on the thumbnail. That's the first ever gecko I ever labeled a, oh yeah, hyper emerine. I think she's going into shed, so she's going to be, or he's going to be a little duller, but you'll get the point. He just has an immense amount of green. I'm going to probably wind up keeping this guy, honestly. That's why I think I already listed him sold, or I listed him for super high dollar. I don't know. I don't remember. But look how much green. So much green. Let me see if I stand. And he's going into shed right now too. Yeah, he's going into shed, so he's kind of looking a little bit duller. But the boy is... So whenever... Yeah, almost pinstripe. Whenever there's a gecko that's really green, I put extreme emerine. If I'm very confident that there's like extra green on that gecko compared to average emerines, which just means geckos that are showing green. This is the first time ever I put hyper emerine, just unreal amounts of green on this guy. And like I said, he's going into shed, so he's looking a little duller, but gorgeous. All right, so let me know if there's any ID numbers that you guys would like to see. Let's see if we could get a little up close of him a little bit more. His head is really green. You can see his body, just how green he is. So much coverage there. I think I already listed him sold because I think I already made the decision that I was going to hold him back. There's just too many projects I could work him into so nicely. Oh, whoops, this goes here. Did I hold this one back? Oh, I did hold this one back. For the owl eyes. Oh, sorry, buddy. I got a little dirt in his eye. Let's blow that out. Because sometimes the dirt is lingering on the top of the humid hide, and then you pop the humid hide off, and it goes in their eyes a little. So before I ship geckos, if they're in their humid hide, I have a little hand vacuum, and I'll vacuum the dirt off the lid, just so that no geckos are being shipped with a little dirt in their eye, even though they tend to get the dirt out of their eye just by licking anyway. But this guy is being held back for our owl project. The two little black circles on the top of the head, giving the gecko like owl eyes, I call them. So we're going to start. We have a lot of geckos that we've been holding back along these lines. And I think that we can refine this project over time to create stuff. Let me see. I'm going to testing, hitting the mic. 1, 2, 3, testing. Do you guys hear any shaking of the mic? Or if I tap the top of the mic, do you guys hear? I want to know what my limits are so that I know what to be careful on. But look at that. Beautiful, beautiful owl eyes. I have a question. If I get 2 geckos, will they fight? Because that's what's holding me back from getting 2. So if you get 2 females that are relatively the same size, you have a 95% chance that they will not fight. There's always a 5% chance that they may fight each other to different degrees. There's minimal fighting, which is okay. It's just like a little nip here and there. It's not so bad. There's medium fighting where it starts to break the skin and create open wounds, but they're not very deep. And then there's maximalist fighting, which is the worst case scenario where you're getting girls that are biting off other girls' arms and stuff like that, you know, just really deep wounds and gashes. So 5% fall into one of those 3 categories. You won't know what category your geckos fall into until you put them together and see. And you just need to keep a close eye on them, you know, for the first week or so. But I'll say 95% of girls are pretty good. A girl and a boy. A girl and a boy is okay, but there will probably be some fighting. I say that there's a 50-50 shot that there's going to be some fighting because boys are always going to want to breed with the girl, but the girl only wants to breed once a year. So once she breeds, she's one and done. That's it. And he's going to try to breed with her over and over again if he's an active male. Some males are lazy, and those males are actually really good for cohabbing because they don't want to breed the females. But the males that are not lazy, which is most males, they will try to breed the girls over and over again. And eventually the girls get tired of it. They start fighting back. And then the male starts trying to pin them down and hold them down harder because they're fighting back. So I usually never recommend housing males and females together. And of course, never two males. They'll pretty much kill each other gladiator style to the death. So your best bet is either get two separate cages or get two females and try your luck with that. And if they get along, they get along. But if they don't get along, then you get another cage. And the cool thing about leopard geckos is if you really wanted to, you only need a 5 to 10 gallon tank for them on the lower side. I'll show you. You know, I really wanted to increase the care for leopard geckos, and a lot of breeders just keep leopard geckos in tubs and whatnot. Oh, I'm going to test to see if you can hear me out here, which you should be able to hear me technically. So let me know if you can and whatnot. But let me show you a couple different things I'm experimenting with so you can see how easy it is to house leopard geckos. So this is a custom build that I made recently. It's equivalent of a 10-gallon tank that you can buy on Amazon for $50. It's acrylic. The lid opens. The lid opens from the top so you can get your gecko. I have cork bark in there that I black foam sprayed to the back, so that's stuck on there. That's not going anywhere. I have lava rocks and peat moss creating a humid hide. You can see the lava rocks right there. I have Repti soil, excavator clay, peat moss, and small lava rocks that are making up the soil. And so something like this is a way for people to collect multiple geckos and not have to keep them in racks. There's also another cage I'll show you, which is also around $50 on Amazon as well. And you could use whatever lighting you would like, but there was some particular LED lighting and heat lights that I was using. Hold on, I need to bring this out here. I love this. I plan on doing this more. I even used live plants in these, but then I let the live plants die because I didn't have time to maintain them or upkeep them. But here's another one. And you could use, this is also equivalent to a 10-gallon tank, and you can also use red heat light on the top. So the good thing about this cage is it opens from the front. So you can't see, I did a build guide video for this cage on our YouTube channel. You could check our most recent videos. But this whole build all in to make something this nice was like less than $100. And that's including all of this natural bark and natural soil and lighting and all that stuff that you technically don't need to go that above and beyond for unless you want to. So, like I said, my main goal is to encourage people who are keeping geckos in racks to consider these other options, to consider these lighter, smaller, cheaper, tank style setups in which you could keep one gecko for its entire life, and it would be better because it can get like UVB light, it could get heat from above. It doesn't just have to get like a heat strip from the bottom, but you could do a heat strip if you wanted to. So Yeah, you could keep cave geckos in that, crocodile geckos, any kind of gecko really that space is good for. What's up, Alex? Currently away from home and missing Lieutenant Pancake. Aw, but glad you can give me my gecko fix. Yeah, I would get Lieutenant Pancake's dad for you, but actually, I set up my garage differently recently, so I can grab him really easily. Let's see. Yeah, I set things up differently now. So where did I put him though? I know he's here somewhere. Lieutenant Pancake's dad. Daddy-o. Let's see, I have Lieutenant Pancake's brother. Where is the dad? We're getting close. I feel it. Here he is. Hi, buddy. Oh, sorry. Scared you a little bit. He is a spitting image of Lieutenant Pancake. And he's such a good, well-behaved boy, too. So, here, since you're away from home, you can enjoy some Lieutenant Pancake Daddy. Hi, buddy. Magma is his name. He was $1,000 when I first got him. Super, super orangey red. If you missed my last video, I talked about how Tangerine's color will fade out in time a little bit, especially as they get older and breed a lot. So he has faded out a lot, but he was $1,000 when I got him. Beautiful boy, though. My buddy. He's so cool because he feels so cool because he's just so beefy. He's just a chunky man. Hmm? You want to open your mouth like the other girl did on video the other day? Nah, we won't make you do that. Probably the dad of one of my girls. Yeah, he was basically the main male that because he was $1,000 and like really good genetics, we bred him to dozens of Inferno girls. So multiple bloodlines of Inferno girls. And the reason that that's good is because he comes from Mandarin bloodlines. Mandarin, Tango Crush, OG bloodlines and stuff like that. And those bloodlines are known for deep orange saturation, but also rich green tones. And the Inferno projects that I have are also known for bright orange saturation and bright green tones. So I figured the Mandarin and Infernos would make the perfect crosses, and they did. We've made some of the most beautiful stuff on the market with the Mandarin Inferno stuff. I sure hope he knows his son is famous. Yeah. Hi, buddy. No panda yet. I have bred a lot of Black Knights that are like in that project, but I never invested in a panda itself. So that's kind of next on my list, is to just have a bunch of females that are in that project and then buy like one super high quality panda male, and then I could breed him to all of those females and then pop out a bunch of pandas. So see if I should test it out and put him in the bioactive. Oh, my poor plants died in the bioactive. I had a nice Christmas Carol aloe in there, which is like, it looks really cool. It's like this green aloe with spiky red barbs. See ya. Yeah, let me know if you guys got any questions. I probably won't be on for too much longer tonight, just because I've had a long day and I'm a little tired. And this was a little bit more of a test. I wanted to test out this new microphone system and stuff. And now that I see that it works really good, I can start to plan some more of these in advance and to notify you guys when we're going to do this type of live stream. Because we have our Friday night live streams where we just chat and talk, and people can come in and ask questions live. Then we'll have interviews as well, and then we'll have this type of live stream where we can see any of the geckos that are on our website and also answer questions. but looking at geckos at the same time. So, but yeah, have a good one, Gubby. I actually created a blizzard from the mail I got from you somehow. Unfortunately, I didn't make it. It didn't make it though. So that probably wasn't a blizzard. What probably happened was sometimes, because I've paired so many of those Mandarin and Infernos back to each other. Actually, I do have one sailfin that I'm going to be selling. And he's already almost an adult. So it's a sub-adult male Celebensis, all black, blue eyes, sailfin dragon. I'm going to be listing that soon. I just posted a bunch of snakes for sale today on a video, so check that out if you're interested in some high-end puzzle ball pythons. But I do have a sailfin that I'm going to sell, and then also like a high-end super yellow bearded dragon that I'm going to sell as well. So I want to downsize those two animals for now, along with those 20 snakes that I listed today. But yeah, so I don't think it was a blizzard, Eddie. What happens sometimes is geckos are born with like low blood flow. And the reason they don't make it is because they don't have good blood flow. And so they appear white. And so that might be what happened, or it might have been an underdeveloped gecko. But I've bred like 1,000 plus from that Mandarin Inferno project, and I've never ever hatched out a blizzard or anything. So I really, really would say that it's not from, it wouldn't be from the male that you got from me, unless that male was tied to something besides Mandarin Inferno. So if you give me the ID of the animal, I can let you know if it was tied to something else besides Mandarin Inferno. But if it was just from our Mandarin Inferno bloodlines, then there would be no blizzard in there. I've never seen blizzard pop out of any of our tangerine bloodlines. But some of them I haven't worked as deep, like the Tangerine Tornado. I haven't worked as deep, but still I haven't seen nothing from that. But Inferno, no. Mandarin, no. Mandarin Inferno, no. But yeah, that does happen sometimes, is babies are born unhealthy with bad blood flow, and they look super cool because you're like, wow, this animal's like transparent or whatever. It's looking super awesome. But it's actually, those animals don't make it. I've never seen one of those animals make it from anybody's collection. People hatch them out occasionally. When should I expect my girls to start ovulating? I would say December through March, or January through April. But geckos, girl geckos, can ovulate any time of year. So you have to constantly be looking at your girls to see when they start ovulating. Then you want to document when that specific girl starts ovulating, because every year she's going to ovulate around the same time. But as a general rule of thumb, if your gecko is not ovulating right now, most geckos ovulate sometime between December, January, February, March, April. They start sometime within those months. And then once they start, they'll go for 3 months or so. Yes, that makes sense, because it was also blind. Yes. So whenever animals are underdeveloped, I don't know if you saw the beginning of the stream, sometimes we hatch out animals that are like underdeveloped and they're super nice colors, or they're a little runty, but they got the most amazing pattern, but they got a little loose skin or something. So I make a joke. There's this joke that I make saying that, to explain it, saying that sometimes all of the power and the effort goes into the color and the pattern, and it takes away from creating a perfectly physically formed animal. It's just a joke that I use to reference for people, so people could be aware that that kind of stuff does happen. And you don't want to get too excited too quickly because you think that you hatch something super, super unique, when in reality, it's actually just an unhealthy animal that's not going to make it or not going to be a good breeder. But the other side of that coin is sometimes healthy, unique-looking animals pop out. So that's the other side of that coin. But what's up, Dead Wolf? I hope if the Lieutenant Pancake and Magma ever meet, they can somehow smell they are same bloodline. I doubt it, but you never know. It would make for a good video. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could, you know, we were at a birthday party this weekend, and we had 2 male geckos, and I tell the kids never to bring the geckos close to each other, but sometimes it occasionally happens, and I have to catch the kids and tell them to separate the geckos right? Because kids are just like, oh, look, I got a gecko. It wants to play with another gecko. And I have to explain to them, these kids were actually pretty smart. I said, these are all boys. What do boys like to do? And they're like, wrestle. So they already know that boys, you know, like physical boys, they like to fight. So that was an easy explanation for them of why they can't bring these geckos together. But I forgot to make that announcement at the beginning of the party. So a couple of the girls were bringing two geckos close to each other, and I had to catch them, stop them right away, and then give them that speech. But I have 6 leopard gecko males that I bring to all of my parties. And some males get really aggressive if they just smell another male on your hand. And these kids at the party, they're just passing the geckos around to each other like throughout the entire 2 hours sometimes. That group of 6 males has never attacked a kid, has never aggressively went after another male, even if they got kind of close. So as long as you're keeping a close eye on them, the signs you want to look for are immediate aggression. The back raises up like a cat. That's immediate aggression. The tail starts wiggling or wiggling like fast. And then, of course, biting. Like if you're holding them like this and then Magma or Lieutenant Pancake bites your finger, that means they're in a hyper state of anxiety at that moment. But I would be very careful, because when a male is in a hyper state of anxiety, it can do a lot of damage to your skin. Like it can rip some good chunk off your skin and you'll be bleeding for a while. Like it won't be that deep and it won't be that serious and it won't be that bad, but it'll make you bleed pretty good with a hyper aggressive male. So white and yellow is dominant. White and yellow is dominant, Gene. Would be cool if leopard geckos recognize their babies. Yeah, I have accidentally forgotten to like check a girl's humid hide for eggs, or I missed some eggs, and then I'll come back a month later and the baby will be hatched out right there next to the mom. I have some videos of this on my channel and pictures and stuff. So sometimes the moms don't eat them, but you never know. They are predatory. The parents are predatory. So tokays are cool. Never seen the friendly one though. Yeah, look it up, Jordan, on YouTube. Search tame crested gecko, tame tokay gecko, handling tokay gecko. There's a couple of them out there, and people are starting to figure out ways to train them, number one, but then also breed them in captivity, number two. And that's been the biggest problem. Is one of the reasons leopard geckos are so calm in captivity is they've been bred in captivity solely and only for the last like 40 years. Tokay geckos are only imported. They're very rarely bred in captivity. So it's like, because of how cheap tokay geckos are to import, everybody just imports them. Same with the sailfin dragons. Nobody has had success with breeding captive breeding sailfin dragons on a consistent basis or gotten notoriety for it. If anybody's been successful, it's like few and far between, and you don't really hear about these people. It's not like leopard geckos where everybody is captive bred leopard geckos, right? And so it's the same thing with tokay geckos. Is because of how cheap they are to import, it affects the motivation and the ability for people to captive breed. Because if you're going to charge $500 for a captive bred tokay baby, but you could get a tokay baby for $50 imported, 99% of your hobbyists out there are going to go with the imported one. So the people who are captive breeding them need to be really, really passionate about that. And there are some people that are, though. So do you think it's more important to have stellar quality males or females? Males 100%. No, let me rephrase that. Males 1000%. And I'll give you a great example with Lieutenant Pancake's dad, Magma. He was a $1,000 quality male that we bought from a breeder. And I bred him to a bunch of like $300 girls. And then he created some of the most amazing animals, because, you know, there's a saying out there that is quality over quantity. But I have a different saying, which is quantity produces quality. And then somebody told me recently that Matt Baronic from Sasselbeck Reptiles told them that same thing too. I promise you, I did not steal that from Matt. I've watched a lot of Matt videos. I've never heard him say that. I thought I was the first person to say that. Maybe I'm not. I don't know when Matt started saying that, but he was breeding well before me, so it's certainly possible. But that's over the last 5 years of me breeding, that's been my mentality. And here's why. Let's say you have 2 quality geckos, a male and a female, that have 10 babies. Out of those 10 babies, you might get 2 babies that are exceptional quality. Now, let's say you have let's say you have a high quality male and you have 10 mid quality females. You're going to get 100 babies from those pairings. And out of those 100 babies, you're probably going to get like 20 that are amazing. So there's how quantity produces quality, is by sheer numbers alone. Your statistics go up of producing amazing looking animals. Now, that's not the strategy for everyone because you need space. And even I realized that I was taking that too far to where it was just ruining my enjoyment of the hobby, ruining my enjoyment. It was ruining my quality of life. And I wasn't able to give the geckos as good quality of life. I wasn't able to stay as on top of care. I wasn't able to give as big of caging as I would like to. So now we're actually scaling back a lot so that I can be around the geckos more, not be as stressed about how much there is to manage and how many geckos there are, and we can increase the size and the enrichment and the environment for all of our animals, which is why those cages that I showed you earlier, that was part of that whole flow and idea is, instead of keeping leopard geckos in tubs, there's got to be a better way that is more visually appealing, bioactive capable, UVB capable, infrared heat capable, because infrared is actually really good for your reptiles. It shoots down into their skin and it helps heal them and just feel good. That's why when you step out into the sun, you feel good. Unless you're in Arizona, then you melt. But no, it still feels good. What do you do about so many Leos being produced? Are you able to give them homes? Yeah, I mean, we sell every single gecko that we want to sell. It just depends on how long it takes. Some geckos might be here for 6 months to a year before they sell. Other geckos might be here for 6 weeks after I list them. But I don't list them until they're like 20 plus grams usually. For the last year or so, I've never listed a gecko that's been under 20 grams. But if I had my way, I would grow all the geckos up to 40 grams before I ever release a gecko. That's what I was doing last year. But then I got too many requests for juveniles and babies and all that kind of stuff. So now I started taking photos of the geckos in the juvenile stage, which is like 20 to 30 grams. But if I had my way, I would never, ever sell a juvenile because you don't know if the quality is going to get better between 20 and 40 grams or worse between 20 and 40 grams. And either way, it's a disappointment. If you sell a gecko for $200 at 20 grams and it turns out to be a $1,000 gecko at 40 grams, you lose out as the seller. But your customer wins, which is still good. But if you sell a customer a $1,000 gecko at 2 months old and then at 20 grams and then at 40 grams it looks like crap, that customer feels ripped off. So it's, in my eyes, it's a lose-lose. I hate it. I don't like it. But the market wants 20-gram geckos. That's just what the market wants. And so you have to, so what I started doing now is providing both. I have 20 to 30-gram geckos and I have 40 to 60-plus gram geckos. So I just do both. But yeah, I take a lot of pleasure and joy in seeing where all of our geckos go and following up with people and getting photos from people. If you look on my Instagram, all of those photos of geckos in like bioactive caging and stuff, that's all from our customers. That's not me. So I love seeing when our geckos go to new mansions and stuff like that, because here, at least for right now, we're keeping them in tubs and stuff like that. Like I said, I would like to change that over time, but change can't happen overnight. It's something that you have to work on, and I am working on progressively and doing what I can in the moment to increase the cage size and enrichment for all of our geckos. But as a breeder, Most breeders don't focus on that just because it's not practical. But I want to forget about practicality as time goes on, and I just want to go with what looks the best, what is most fulfilling for me, what is most enriching for the gecko. And the answer to all those questions is I would like to look at geckos in cages like this. I would like to look at them enjoying enrichment. I would like to look at them enjoying UVB. I really like, okay, so I really like this. The reason I really like this is because it's all acrylic and you could see in it from 360-degree direction, and you can put it on an iron rack shelf similar to like this right here, and you could hang LED lights above it shining down into the cage. Looks fantastic. Or UVB lights, looks fantastic. So do you think 2 males and 6 females is good? Yeah, that's good. That way you have a backup male and you have a bunch of females. That's good. Once you get more experienced, you could easily breed 1 male to 10 females a year, easy. But the problem with that is if you're relying upon 1 male to get the job done with those 10 females, what if he gets hurt? What if he gets lazy? What if he doesn't want to breed? Now you're out of luck, right? So it's always good at that ratio. For 10 females, I would want to have 3 males total for that project. So let's say that was a tangerine project group. I would want 3 males total. I would want a stud that's going to breed all of them. I would want a backup to the stud that maybe isn't as nice as the stud, but if the stud is not getting the job done and I'm getting infertile eggs, I can put him in with some of the females to relieve some tension off the stud if the stud is running out of juice and stuff like that, you know? And then I want to back up to the backup. So that's what I would prefer across. You could probably do that across 10 to 15 girls. But again, it's better if you have a lesser ratio because then the male doesn't need to go to as many females. But that's up to you and the space that you have and stuff like that. It's interesting. My brother-in-law is a geneticist. Part of his work is exposing DNA to radiation. Oh, that's cool. How cool. What an interesting job. Science, I geek out over science. You could probably tell from some of my videos. Also, part of the inspiration for my name, Geeky Gecko Creations. I just got a 48 by 18 by 18. That's fantastic. Do you think it's ethical and acceptable to breed geckos together that don't really complement each other? Different genetics entirely in hopes to produce something new? Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but here's the problem. If some of your peers think that something is wrong with that, they will not like you if you announce that you're doing something like that. And a lot of times people will do everything they can to try to bring you down just because you're doing something they don't agree with. So ethically, there's no problem with that whatsoever. Like whatsoever. But business speaking wise, you might not want to do that because if people, or you might not want to announce that you're doing that because if people see that you're doing that, every hobby, this is the leopard gecko hobby, there's the ball python hobby, there's the emerald tree boa hobby, there's the Lechianus gecko hobby, there's the tegu hobby. Every hobby has certain quirks within it that you need to be aware of that tick people off. And if you start doing those things that tick people off and they start spreading that to other people and ticking them off, it's going to create problems for you as a business. So I'm just speaking from experience. I've always been a very outspoken person. I've always just spoken, you know, nicely what's on my mind as far as like what I believe in, what I don't believe in for the most part. I do the opposite of the advice that I just gave you, and it's hurt me a lot. There are a lot of people in this leopard gecko hobby that don't like the things I say or don't like the things I do, and then they'll spread rumors about me, or like really bad rumors, or they'll just talk negatively about me to other people behind the scenes. And it just creates a problem. So you have a decision, there's something in America called freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is free to a certain degree. It's free in the sense that you can legally say and do anything you want. But if other people find issue with what you're saying and doing, you might be opening yourself up to unnecessary or unwanted critique and criticism that's going to be more hassle than it's worth. There's an old saying that I heard from an old man once. And this must be an old saying because I never heard any young people say this necessarily, but some hills are not worth dying on. And what that means is you have to consider the battle that you're about to fight, the decision that you're about to make. Would you be okay dying on that hill? Would you be okay with your business dying on that hill, being unsuccessful on that hill if you continue going that direction? Are you okay with that? If you're okay with that, then go that direction. But if you're not okay with that, then use both of your ears to listen to some of the quirks that are in the hobby that you belong to and avoid those like the Black Plague. Or just ask me what the quirks, I need to look up that word. Somebody please look up that word for me. Is it quirks? Quirks? Just feel free to ask me or text me. My phone number is everywhere. On my website, my email's everywhere. You can ask me, is this a problem? Do people in the hobby view this as a problem? And I can tell you without a doubt, I know all the quirks within this leopard gecko hobby that people are going to get ticked off about. So hope that helped. According to my brother-in-law, he recommends 1,000 specimens to get a good result, but he uses fruit flies because they have a 3-day life cycle. Pretty cool. Marley, I did 2. Just got a rescue this weekend. Thank you. We do need more reptile rescues because reptiles are often so cheap and they're bought for kids and then they get neglected and then they get, issues, health issues. So I do think that we need, in the same way that we have a ton of dog and cat rescues, we do need more 501c3 reptile rescues. 100%. Dude, you're awesome. Keep being awesome. Those people, you're the man. Yeah, thanks. That was the approach that I took, and sometimes I wish I hadn't taken that approach. But I do value truth, right? And I have a really, really hard time not saying the truth or holding back information. So that's why I decided I'm okay with dying on this hill. If telling the truth and speaking openly is going to get me killed, so to speak, or present a challenge, so to speak, in my business, I'm okay with that because that's the type of business I want to run. I made the decision a long time ago. I want to run an open business. I want to run a non-judgmental business. I want to run a condemnation-free business. You can ask any question you want. I'll give you an honest answer. And I just want to speak from all perspectives because there's always more than one way to look at something. Always more than one way to look at something. And it's good to talk about all the ways that you could look at a certain topic and to have open dialogue and open discussion, even with people that disagree with you. The problem in this hobby is people don't want open discussion and they don't want open talk. They just want you to submit to their way or else. That's basically it. It's like submit to me, not me, but I mean from their perspective, it's like do what I say or else you're now my enemy and I'm gonna, do what I can to try to take you out, whatever that may mean. And that's just unfortunately something that happens in a lot of niches in the reptile world, but it happens a ton within the leopard gecko world, a metric ton. Thank you guys, though. I appreciate it. Yeah, the lemon frost was a big thing, and I made healthier animals. I made great animals. I showed it off in a video. And even the guy that studied the lemon frost gene at UCLA, Dr. Longhua Guo, Dr. G, we'll call him for short, even he said outcrossing can fix the issue. 3 times in an interview with Evan from Strength and Leos. But still, all of my critics were like, nah, Frank, you're doing the wrong thing. We're going to take you out. It's just, that's the type of closed-mindedness that doesn't make progress in the scientific world, and it doesn't make progress in a hobby. It holds back a hobby. A matter of fact, there's a lot of people that leave the leopard gecko hobby just because they get so tired of the drama. There's so much drama. It's not just with me. It's not just people talking crap about me. It happens everywhere in the leopard gecko world. People click up over here, and this clique doesn't like this clique. And if you are seen hanging around this clique, they're going to try to take you out because you're supposed to be with them from this clique. It's just, it's so childish, but it is what it is. Like I said, you have to identify the realistic truth of where your hobby is and make your decisions based on that. So I always like to help steer people away from drama and away from trouble, if possible, because I know how hard it makes it to run a business and to maintain a good name when there's people just making up stuff and talking crap behind your back 24/7. But the reason I don't care is because I value truth, and I value open dialogue, and I value challenging the status quo. We shouldn't always just do things one way. There should be open dialogue. There should be reasoning and arguments behind why a decision is good or why a decision is bad. Not just listen to me or else. That's just a terrible way to conduct a hobby. And a lot of people wind up leaving the leopard gecko hobby because a few months in, they discover all the clicks, they discover all the drama, and it takes away the fun out of keeping. I know the rule about albinos. Cool. That's another thing I was going to tell you. That's definitely a big rule. So all my albino carriers are trempers, but I'm working on combining different orange animals to make an orange animal with bright white spots on their back. Yeah, and even if you happen to breed a Bell albino to a Tremper albino, just tell your customers, hey, this animal is possible het Bell, possible het Tremper, or 100% het Bell, 100% het Tremper. I recommend that that this is only a pet. I recommend that you don't breed this because of the way the hobby views this. Like, see, I see no problem with that. You're just making a pet. Like, as long as you're open and honest with what the animal is, there's no problem with that. But the problem is people will see that and then judge you for it, that you should have never done that because it's wrong in their eyes. It's wrong in their eyes. And you could shoot yourself in the foot big time by listing stuff like that. So it's a risk. But yeah, if any of you guys ever have questions on what are the controversial things in the leopard gecko hobby, I could easily answer your questions on that because I've been around it long enough where I know. Which, by the way, this is another reason why some of the top breeders just kind of stay out of it. So not only does this negative atmosphere that is going on behind the scenes, this gossiping, backbiting atmosphere, not only does that scare away new people or disinterest new people, but it also scares away foundational people in the hobby that don't want any backlash. So they don't want to do any interviews. They don't want to go on any shows. They don't want to create any social media practices. They don't want to show you what's going on behind the scenes When was the last time you saw a leopard gecko breeder actually showing you what's going on behind the scenes? Reese from House of Reps, who me and him just became super tight recently, he was one of our biggest critics, because he went by everything that he heard from other people. But recently, over the last year, we've made a lot of headway, and now I'm super happy to say that I consider him a friend, and I think he considers the same. Like he was on my show last week. We'll be doing each other's shows all the time. But that negative atmosphere makes even the top breeders not want to show what's going on behind the scenes, not want to make videos, not want to make content, not want to collaborate. And that also unmotivates a hobby, right? Because a lot of people that are just starting off breeding, they look up to breeders who are respected in the hobby or been doing it a while, or who have awesome geckos. They look up to them. And the less that those breeders tell you or keep you informed or show you what's going on behind the scenes, the less helpful it is for you. That's why I said, this is a hill that I'm willing to die on. I want an open operation, open dialogue. I always want to be honest with people as much as possible. That's just the way that I wanted to run my business. And to a certain degree, that's the way I will always run my business. Like that's just the vibe that I want to have. And we really don't have that anywhere else in the leopard gecko hobby right now. We'll see if that changes soon, little by little, slowly, over time. But like I said, a lot of those big guys, there's really no upside to them showing you their facility because they're going to get judged for it. They're going to get negatively judged for it. So they're like, well, I'm already making a decent living and decent sales. Why would I show what's going on behind the scenes and turn some people away because I'm breeding in tubs or I'm breeding in small to average size tubs or whatever the case is? That's another reason why I want to completely convert my operation over to cages, and not just like small cages like this. This is just an example of like where I'll start, but as big cages as possible. That way I could always show behind the scenes and always show what's going on. And it'll actually be a motivation and inspiration for new people coming in, something to look forward to, something to look up to. But people don't know what to look up to unless you're actually showing them what to look up to, you know? So Brazil in the house. That's cool. What are the newest morphs? Cypher and I just talked about this with House of Reps the other day. Cypher and Blue Amber Eye. Technically, I believe it was one of my last videos. I put it in the comment section. I think it was Blue Amber Eye was released in 2018 or 19. And the reason I say released is because it may have been discovered before then, but it was released in 2019. And Cypher, I think, was released in like 2015 or 16, or I got those backwards. But those were the last two Mendelian genetics to come out. Do you guys know what Mendelian genetics are? Recessive, dominant, codominant, and incomplete dominant. Those are Mendelian, not line bred. Line bred is not Mendelian. You have a Pac-Man frog? That's cool. Yeah, it's super nice connecting with House of Reps, for sure. Is the standard Tremper tending to be smaller? Males, 70 grams. Female, 70 to 80 grams. Females, 55 to 65 grams, somewhere in there. It's been a long time since I just like weighed a bunch of like Trempers, you know, and there is a lot of variation. But I'll say in general, unless it's Black Knight females, 40 to 50 grams. Black Knight males, 50 to 60 grams. Regular anything else besides Afghanicus and other stuff that's smaller, anything else like Trempers, Tangerines, anything like that, Females, you're probably looking at an average of 60 to 65 grams. And males, you're probably looking at an average of 70 to 80 grams, something like that. 80 would probably be even pushing it a little high. It also depends how fat you're talking about a gecko. So like, I don't keep my geckos, especially the males, I try not to keep them super chunky, because when they go into breeding, geckos that are super chunky, it can be problematic when they're trying to lock with the female, and same with the female. So it's like, when I say that a female is 60 to 65 grams, that's a healthy weight. You could probably power feed that female up to 75 grams, 10 grams of extra fat on her, but that's not what I'm talking about. So average size, you're looking at 60 grams for a female, 70 grams for a male. I'd say that's about right. What exactly is a normal, and how does it differentiate from like black knight morphs? And if you have a clutch, will some of them be normals? Yeah, I mean, you're talking about genetics now. So I have a lot of videos on genetics, but basically I'm remaking a lot of those videos on genetics. But if you want, I have some really good series on genetics. It's a lot to just explain in like 2 minutes. You have to kind of see what's going on. So if you want to do that, look up my genetics series, or shoot me a text message. My phone number is everywhere. You can go to my website, shoot me an email, and I'll send you our genetic series, and you can watch all those videos. It's like 20 videos of genetic information. But there's 5 main videos that explain to you what is Mendelian breeding, recessive, dominant, incomplete dominant. What is line breeding? How does that differ from Mendelian breeding? And yeah, what is a normal? So a normal is basically a gecko that is yellow with black spots from the wild. We almost have no just pure and plain normals anymore. Everything is something else, you know what I mean, for the most part. But if you want to talk like what the base color of a normal leopard gecko would be, it would be like a lighter shade of yellow with maybe a little lavender in there and some black spots, right? That's like normal. And then anything else from there is going to fall into one of 2 categories. Mendelian mutations, which are like albino, white and yellow, snow, or line bred traits, which are selectively bred traits over a long period of time to accomplish a certain look, like tangerine, black knight, bold stripe. Those are line bred. Albino, white and yellow, max snow, those are Mendelian. 2 separate camps. You can combine the 2. You could have a max snow bold stripe. You could have a tangerine albino. But technically, what's causing the look of those animals is 2 separate strategies. So I do have a lengthy video series on that if you want. You can look it up on our YouTube channel. Just go to playlists and then look up our genetic playlist. Or if you can't find it, or if you want me to make it easier on you, I can just shoot me a text or an email and I can send you the playlist. One of the reasons I got out of the hobby is because of geckos not living long. Yeah, I would say nowadays, for the most part, geckos are pretty healthy, especially if you get them from a responsible breeder who cares, right? Like Any Geckos in my operation over the years that ever showed any signs of like weakness or parasites or potentially even crypto, because that's the worst thing that you could get, and it's known to be in leopard geckos. It's just known to be in the hobby. So you can put those animals down so that you're not risking the rest of your collection. And by doing that, year after year after year, you could eventually have a collection that you're very confident in, and the animals are all healthy. And like I said, most breeders have that nowadays, but there's still some breeders that don't care about that, and they might have really skinny underfed geckos or whatever the case is. But yeah, white and yellow does not have a problem anymore for the most part. You'll almost never see a white and yellow that has syndrome. And the only main, and for the most part, leopard geckos are really healthy. Like I would probably say, out of every 100 babies that we hatch, maybe there's 5 or less that have some kind of birth defect or issue or something like that, or they fail to thrive or something. It's a really low percentage, and that just happens naturally because we live in an imperfect world. What makes that percentage go up is if you have geckos that are full of parasites and passing on those parasites, and you're doing nothing about it. So all the babies that are growing up in your operation eventually get parasites because of that. So that's what would make that percentage go up. But like I said, for the most part, as long as the breeder is responsible and is doing what they're supposed to be doing, as far as like culling off animals or testing their animals or getting rid of the animals that ever show signs of weakness or sickness or crypto or anything like that, as long as they're doing that, for the most part, leopard geckos is a super healthy, reliable species to be working with that has the most beautiful color animals. We're still perfecting the color of all of the projects that we have going on. That will go on forever. And they're so small and easy to manage and cheap to maintain compared to like tegus or monitor lizards or ball pythons or boas that they're still the top 3 most kept and sold reptile in the world. Can you go over the biggest controversial topics in the hobby? Yeah, you don't want to cross the albinos, Bell albino, Tremper albino, Rainwater albino. Stay away from crossing them. Just keep them all in their separate lanes. Try to provide a heat source for your gecko, preferably like a light with UVB would be best. Otherwise, pet keepers aren't going to like you, which is a whole nother topic. Let me see if I can explain this. So some controversies exist in the breeder world, meaning that only breeders are really involved in these controversies. This would be like breeding controversial genetics, like lemon frost, enigma, white and yellow syndrome, breeding animals with parasites, selling unhealthy animals, selling animals too small, not giving like really low husbandry or poor standards or something like that, right? Like even for breeders' sake, those things will get you in trouble in the breeder world. But what gets you in trouble with the pet keepers is keeping in tubs in general. Because to a pet keeper, they don't want to see a leopard gecko in anything less than a 40-gallon tank. So if you plan on selling to pet people, you might not want to be showing off your rack systems and whatnot, because that's going to almost immediately eliminate a certain category of people, even though they just buy their geckos from people who don't show their rack setups. So it's not like they're buying geckos from people that don't breed in racks. It's just that they're buying geckos from people that don't show that they're breeding in racks. It's the dumbest thing, but it is what it is. So anyway, rack keeping will get you in trouble within the pet world. Not providing UVB, not providing over-the-top lighting, and using red bulbs. I love red bulbs. I promote red bulbs all the time. But the pet world really doesn't like red bulbs because there's this rumor going around that it's going to cause blindness in your geckos, and that's just not true. It's just not true. It's just not. It's just not. It's just not. But like anything, once a rumor gets going, it becomes truth, right? And that's dumbest thing ever, but it is what it is. So again, those are some of the majors. If I think of something else, I'll let you know. Are diamonds only orange and white in color? Yeah, because they have to be Tremper albino, if you mean red diamonds. Appreciate all the info for sure. Gosh Tasm? Yeah, bunch of geckers. You haven't even seen the half of it. I just took some pictures, actually, of the garage and stuff, because as time goes on, I want to show the changes we're making and all that kind of stuff. So it would be nice to like show where we were originally, where we are now, and then where we're going to be in the future. So, but yeah, I have a whole wall of geckos there, you can see. But I do have some big caging. So you can see I have a bunch of 28 quart tubs. And then I have a bunch of 6 quart tubs. So you can see the 6 quart tubs go all the way down the line there. We got some 3 quart tubs for babies, juvies. Works really well. 1/8 of an inch gap. And I built all of these too. These are a couple of my older styles. Yeah, 6 quarts. Yeah, there's easy 1,000 geckos in here. We had like 2,000 last year, but like I said, I am working on actually downsizing because I want to give geckos more space and I want to give them more enrichment. And I also want less pressure on my life as far as like, I can't go anywhere. I can't go on vacation. I can't leave 1,000 animals and not worry about it. You know what I mean? It's really like the sailfin dragons and other stuff that I have, because leopard geckos are pretty easygoing. But still, when you have, there's a saying. Please take this saying to heart. The more that you have, the more that you have to manage. It's similar to the saying, more money, more problems, right? So be careful with how fast you grow. Be careful with how much you take on. And I'll admit, I made that mistake. Breeding too many animals at first. And then having to try to house them all. And sell them all. That's why I barely did any breeding this year. I only bred like 200 geckos this year. Last year, we bred 2,000. I don't know. It was a lot. We bred a lot of babies last year. But that's what I mean by I just way overdid it last year. I got to hold myself accountable to that. Way overdid it. And now I'm in a place where I have probably less than 1,000 right now. Maybe if I guess, maybe less than 800. It's probably lingering about at 1,000. But I'd like to get that down even more to like 500 or something. You know, and then as time goes on, converting animals into bigger and bigger caging, and then into bioactive caging. Kind of like I was showing off at the beginning of this stream, you know? So, anyway, you can only do what you can do. You know what I mean? I can only do so much at once. But I'm really... One good thing that has come out of having this many animals is it allows me to have quality animals that I could list at a quality price. I don't need to charge as much as some other people because I have so many animals. So it affords me the luxury of being more flexible with my prices and stuff like that. So my grandfather always said, the more you own, the more owns you. That's I'm going to use that one. That's another good saying too. I'm tired of being owned. I'm tired of being owned by what I own. I want a life. Amy, what's going on, Amy? I'm about to get off though, Amy, but if you want to watch it back, we had some good conversations. We showed off some cool geckos at the beginning. When does it start to become too much to manage numbers wise? It depends if you have a full-time job and whatnot. If you have a full-time job, I think you can easily handle... Let me think about this. if you have 300 leopard geckos and you clean once a week, that means that you would have to clean, or if you clean once every 2 weeks, you'd have to clean 150 geckos a week. There's 7 days in a week, so that would be about 20 geckos a day. So let's put it that way. If you have 300 geckos, you would have to clean approximately 20 geckos a day if you clean them every 2 weeks, which technically you can get away with leopard geckos because they have those big chunky tails. They don't need food every week. You could just give them a bunch of food and it will last for 2+ weeks. So if you did it that way, that would be cleaning 20 geckos a day. It takes about, if you have a bigger tub, it'll probably take you about, let's just say 5 minutes to clean a tub. So if you have 20 geckos you need to clean a day, you're looking at 100 minutes, which is about an hour and it's close to almost 2 hours. That sounds like a lot, because if you got a full-time job and you're working 8 hours a day, then you got to clean geckos for 2 hours every night. That's too much. So I would say 300 geckos is too much already for your average person who's working a full-time job. At that point, I would probably say somewhere between 100 to 200. But if you're only working a part-time job, or if you don't need to work, you got a sugar mama or sugar daddy or whatever, then I would say you could have up to 500 geckos. Anything more than 500 geckos, I would say, becomes problematic, because now you may have to hire people to help you take care of those animals. Especially if you're using heating and lighting for those 500 animals, that's going to be a lot of electricity. So if you don't have a job, no more than 500. If you have a 40-hour-a-week job, no more than 200. That would be my general statistics to go about it. Here in Brazil, very little genetic work has been done with geckos. I want to start breeding program in the future so I can get permission. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really awesome. I don't know any Brazilian breeders, but hopefully, I would imagine if you looked around, you probably have some breeders in South America area that you could get from. I know there's a guy up in Mexico named Charlie's Geckos, and he got a bunch of nice clowns and tangerines and red diamonds and all that kind of stuff. So he's all the way up in, is he Guatemala? I don't know where he is. He's in Mexico somewhere, I think. But I'm sure you might have some breeders in Brazil. Hopefully you can find some. Oh, you're only 12? Yeah. Figured I'd tempt sex for females. That's exactly what you want to do. That was my strategy. You can take like a black knight male and a black knight female, incubate all of the babies for female, and then next year breed the dad back to all of those females. Amazing strategy. Oh, the exotic market is just starting. How cool. Well, thank you guys so much. I need to go. My voice is going. It's been a little bit of a long day. But thank you for being here the whole time with me, bringing some great questions, helping us to have some good conversation. Tomorrow's Thursday. I don't know if I'll be live tomorrow. Friday is our next scheduled live, where at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I'll be on the computer and you can come on live. We'll bring you on camera. You can ask your questions, all that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, maybe I'll plan on doing some more live streams like this to show off animals from our website or animals that people may be interested in. Just have fun talking geckos. So, yeah, thank you guys for being here. I'll see you next time. Until then, my friends, stay safe, pursue your reptile passion, and have a geeky gecko great day. Peace.